Right now, I'm joined by NDTV's three good men this evening: Sunil Gavaskar, Dean Jones, and Farokh Engineer. I'll start with you, Farokh. Do you have a direct line with MS Dhoni before the match? You said we hope he bats higher. He's not been doing that in any of the games. He did that today.
Well, let's put it this way: a message was, conveyed, and when we met before, also, we've mentioned this, and I'm glad he's taken it up. I think he should always. We've always said that your batsman should bat as many balls as possible, to get the biggest total as possible. And MS Dhoni is a guy who can carve in innings. When needed, he can accelerate. He can play a very versatile knock, and that's why I think he should always bat at number 4.
Right, which is exactly what he did. Dino, they're called the Delhi Daredevils, but there's no dare. One thing is losing a match, but without a fight. That's what we've been seeing with Delhi. Very disappointing.
Shocking. Worst year ever. Where do you go from here? They have to win 9 of the next 10 matches to make the finals. So I'm thinking right now, how many of these guys in this squad will be there for next year? Do you play guys now looking for next year? I think they have to.
So you think they already need to look at the next season, but unfortunately, next season is going to be a complete brand new auction with most players going back into the pool.
Glad you put that up. So which guys do you want to retain? I've got a squad: Sehwag, Warner, Morkel, Yadav, Nadeem, Kevin Peterson, if available. The rest, that's it.
Interesting point you mentioned. Which are the players that you need to retain? Probably that is something that Delhi will now look forward to. Of course, they can spoil the party for the other IPL teams. Let's go across to Mumbai. Joining us is Sunny Gavaskar. Sunny bhai, talking about the players that Delhi really hoped would do really well. One of them would be Virender Sehwag. We've seen with players, whenever they get a small break, they come out sometimes performing much better than they've been doing. With Virender Sehwag, do you think the break, either be it because of injury or being dropped from the Indian team, hasn't really done him any good?
That is right. I think it also could be the fact that he's not yet used to playing with glasses. So that could be one of the reasons why he's struggling a bit. But what happens generally when you are over 30, say about 34, 35, and you take a break of 6 months or even 6 weeks, it is very difficult to come back because, mentally you might feel that you're right there and you could be right there. But physically, in those 6 weeks, your reflexes have slowed down just that little bit, which is not good for international cricket. And I think Virender Sehwag is not the only example.
Right. Any other that you would want to mention?
No, I don't want to mention. No.
Right.
It's too late in the night.
Okay. We'll keep it for the day. We do a show early in the evening. Dino, Virender Sehwag we've spoken about. Let's talk about the Chennai team now. One man they left out, Michael Hussey. Would you believe it? Today he showed why he's just a must-have in a team.
He was brilliant today and fed off really well for Vijay. They started off pretty well with a good start. He's so good both sides of the pitch. He's a three-dimensional player. What I mean by that is that he can hit it over cover, he can hit it over mid-wicket, and he can hit it down third man or fine leg. So he's an unbelievable player in that regard. And then to Dhoni, I thought Dhoni's knock today, when he walked into the pitch, I know he's had a few words to Farokh, but when he walked in the pitch, he wanted to prove to the other guys, I'm not putting up with any more of this rubbish, what I've seen. He walked out like a man on a mission tonight. He was absolutely awesome. Led by example, and it's nice to see him up the top there. Follow them. See, I wouldn't have put Bravo in next. I would have put Badranath Jadeja in after these guys. But anyway, they punched out 169. They probably should have got a few more, but polished performance by the skipper.
Dhoni always walks in with that confident strut, doesn't he? I want to ask Sunny.
Yeah.
Sunny, the first 5 in the table, Royals, Bangalore, Sunrise, Chennai and Mumbai. You reckon that these first 5 will be the first 5 in the end of the tournament as well?
Yeah, I think pretty much so. I think there'll certainly be 3 of those 5 will be in the top 4 towards the end of the tournament as well. But you know what Dino was saying about Dhoni walking in, as if he was a man on a mission? How many of the Delhi batsmen, how many of the Delhi team, when they came out to bat, could you actually say the same about? Not one. Not one. And it's not just this match. You see all the matches. And not one of the players has given the impression that he's on a mission. He wants to go out there and win. And I think it's over here that, I think the franchises should be given the right to maybe do something about the fees that are being guaranteed. Once you have guaranteed fees, then a lot of people actually go out there and say, what the hell, if I get out first ball, so what? I'm still going to get my fees. I'm not going to give it everything. My place in the national team is not going to be jeopardized by what I'm doing over here. It is just a domestic tournament, and I think that is also hurting not just Delhi, but hurting a lot of teams in the IPL. It's been seen
very, very
all over.
valid points on his making.
I was going to move ahead in the discussion,
Yeah.
but since he's made a very valid point, I'm going to get both of you to reply to that. Good suggestion there. You pay according to your performance and not a guaranteed fee.
I think there's got to be a little bit of a guarantee fee there, but there's got to be a performance little nugget there for guys to look at, without doubt. But the problem is, I say, like, what do you put the nugget at, the performance? Is it at 50? Is it at 40? Is it is that in the back of their mind when they're chasing a score down, I've got to get 40 first so I can get that ticked so I can get my money before I actually... I've never performed like that. Sonny never has, and I know Farokh hasn't.
I'll go back to Sonny, who's joining us live from Mumbai, but you wanted to make a point on this?
Yeah,
You
of
think
course,
it's a
I
good
agree
idea?
entirely with Sonny there, because it should be performance related. In a company, if a salesman does well, he earns more than the other guys. So, I mean, why not at cricket? But definitely, what Sonny said, the heads were down. It's a sorry plight. They're right at the bottom of the table, and unfortunately, they remain so. Because I just can't see Delhi winning any games.
Okay, Sonny, coming to the point that you've made, let's make it, the payment according to the way you perform. But in that sense, how do you set a benchmark? Let's say 50 is something that you score. You might have a situation where players just want to get their 50s.
No. When I talk about performance, I'm talking more about attitude and approach, and I think you can make that out from straight away. I don't think there should be a benchmark as such, because that could make the player selfish. That could make the player say, look, I'm going to get my 25 and 30, the hell with it. But the attitude is wrong. I'm going to get my 25, 30, but I'm not going to get anything more. So I think it's the attitude and approach, and you can easily make out. You can easily make out which player is seriously interested. We saw that with Mahendra Singh Dhoni. We see that every day, day in, day out with Mike Hussey. When he goes out to bat, he goes out there wanting to do well for his team, and wanting to give it everything on the field. The way he dives, he's retired from international cricket. He's got nothing to prove to anybody. But look at the effort level he puts in. I'm talking about that.
Right.
That can be surely ascertained by anybody. And I think that is what that needs to be looked at. I'm not saying that, when I say performance, I don't mean, 20, 30 or 2 wickets for, 5 runs. No, that will make actually the player selfish. I'm not, maybe I put it across wrongly, but I think it's the attitude and approach that I'm talking about.
Right. So talking about the same thing, I'm going to ask you another question. You said before they introduced the performance related payment rule or an idea within the franchises, what can they be doing right now? Do you think more power to the captain? Especially we've seen foreign captains. Probably if they see a player not having great attitude, do you think they have the power to drop a player like that?
Yes, I think that there should be right. I mean, it's a team. You have the power as the captain and as the support staff. You have the power to say to the guy, hang on a minute, you're out of the squad. You're out of the 15. We are not taking you anymore for the rest of the matches. We don't think you're putting in the kind of effort that the franchise needs, that the team needs, that the rest of the squad needs, and your attitude and approach is actually being detrimental to the others. So we don't want you. Out with you. That's the way the captain and the coach should be given the authority to do that, because that's the only way that it's going to improve.
Right. So is it also about a team culture, Dino? Sometimes when you have a culture in the team, the rest of them follow. They try to have the attitude that the captain has. Sometimes it's the bad culture, and that just trickles down to everyone.
It certainly does. There's something about that, and Sonny makes a really good point. But you've got to have a gutsy captain and coach and infrastructure to actually say when players don't have the right attitude and approach, as Sonny says, then you can ping them. Now, here's the point. Let's say a player gets paid $100, hypothetically, for the season.
Right.
If he doesn't make the squad, should he be paid that $100? If he doesn't make the squad, should it be a situation whereby if he makes the team, that's a tick, and if he plays half decent, then it's another tick? Look, we've got to find a right.
There should be a happy medium, and then performance related after that.
Yeah.
They certainly got to get a basic for the living.
We're about to go to all auctions at the end of the year, so I have no doubt that all the franchises now will start to think we want more performance-based contracts by our players if we're going to pay them the big bucks.
And the
Right.
sooner they think that, the better it will be for all.
Right. For
I'm
the
sure you
benefit-
get better performances. Delhi are not short of support. They played to a packed stadium. You know, I remember when I got my first 50, my dad gave me 5 rupees. I mean, that was a great encouragement in Lancashire League when a player gets a 50 or a bowler gets 5 wickets, he gets a cap or like a collection. So I mean, these are all inducements, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't get an IPL.
But that was a time when you got 500 rupees to play a test match. But coming to that, the point
250 rupees.
250. Oh, I
Yeah,
said 500.
a massage this morning cost me 500 rupees.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that issue that Dino makes, for the benefit of our viewers, even if you make the playing 11 or you don't, you still get the amount that you were bid for and what your contract says. So Dino has a point here that why not pay the ones who play a little more than the ones who sit out?
Correct.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree entirely. Yes, indeed. You know, it's all performance related, as we said. Get a certain basic structure, and I think all sponsors should be thinking about that. And who knows? Next year in the auctions, you and I might be invited there.
I know, for example, Cricket Australia has 25 contracts, right? So they're really more worried about more performance-based. Now, after the Indian tour, not many of them should have been paid, but the fact remains, if you play for your country, day in, day out, that means you must be playing well, then therefore you get paid the big bucks. Why should players get paid big inducements but don't play every third match for their teams? We've got a couple of guys. We've got Pune, Richardson, 700,000. He won't play a game.
Right. Interesting point. I'm going to go across to Sunny Bhai for that. What do you make of this idea? At least that way you'll ensure that everyone's fighting for that playing 11 spot.
Yes, but I think what happens is at the player auction, a player is bid for. And I think that is the USP of the Indian Premier League, is about the big bucks that the players can get. But having bought a player for a particular amount, I think there should be something in the contract and in the clause that allows the franchise with reasonableness to be able to say to the guy, hang on a minute, you didn't play X number of matches, and we didn't think your attitude was great, and so I think we are entitled to cut maybe 25% or whatever it is. I don't know how to work it, but in Test cricket, and when you're playing for your country, when you're dropped, you lose out on a lot of things. You lose out on the fee, the honor, the recognition. But in this, there is no such thing. There's no honor. There's no recognition. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, it's just pure professionalism. And I think when there is lack of professionalism, I think that's where the franchises should be allowed to do something about it.
Right. We have the big auction coming up next season. I'm sure there'll be big changes there as well. Unfortunately, would have loved to carry on this discussion, but we've completely run out of time. Thanks so much for joining us, Sunny Gavaskar, Dean Jones and Farokh Engineer.